Welcome to The Glamorous Podcast, a space centering the refined, cultured, and connected Black American woman. Thanks so much for joining me today. Let's get into it. I know y'all are not staying home. This will be a part of a series discussing the Black Vote 2024. And first up, we need to discuss this growing online contingency of people saying that they are staying home and sitting out this election. So, first of all, I don't have a problem with people staying at home and not participating in the voting process. You have a right to do that. I do take issue if you don't have some sort of system in place to coordinate your needs. So if you like running water, if you like going to the grocery store, the convenience of not having to sit and, grow and harvest your food, protected from the predators, and, do all those things, you may not want to stay home. If you enjoy other first world conveniences and you want to protect your ability to participate in that, you definitely, and you don't have a system in place, then you definitely shouldn't be staying at home. So a lot of people are saying stay at home, but I'm not hearing a course of action of what you're going to do to replace that, the civic services that you're receiving. So there are a few reasons why people are saying that they're staying home. One of the reasons that I keep hearing is that we're not getting anything for the vote. I want to get something for my vote. They're not giving us anything. Well, who is supposed to give you something? Do you know the process of, this whole thing and how it works? Do you have lobbyists in place? Are you donating to PACs? Do you have any organizations that are advocating for you, politically? And even if, you want to get something for your vote and you spoke to someone, what type of punitive mechanisms do you have to punish candidates? So this whole idea of getting something for your vote, you need to be organized. First of all, people need to know that you exist. Talking amongst yourself online or, in private conversations, that's cool. But the people who, write the legislation or the people who cut the checks need to know that you exist and that you're organized, and that you want stuff. And I think that getting something for your vote, that's cool, but do you know how that process works? So let's say that they do earmark to get you something for your vote. Do you know how, the checks get rolled out? Do you know, if you're getting something, is it on the county level? Is it on the state level? Do you have a nonprofit or some sort of organization that is ready to receive the getting something? Do you know if you already have got something? Have you been to your city's website? So there is a lot of, I would say, lack of understanding, and it's not because we lack the ability to comprehend the process, but a lot of people are saying, I want to get something to my vote, and a lot of people don't quite understand the processes of getting something. But they said that they ain't getting nothing, so they ain't voting. They staying at home. And I'm like, okay. Another thing that I am hearing amongst Black America is that they want reparations. No reparations, no vote. And I'm with that because I want reparations too. But we have to be honest about our whole thing on reparations. We are not organized. Reparations can happen through an executive order. And so that should be happening right now. You have a lot of Black people that voted for Joe Biden, even though he just laughed in the face of your reparations when asked about it. He said, Hispanics are the future of this country. And he just laughed. And so I don't have a problem with reparations, but if they said they're going to give us reparations, the proposals, we don't have orgs in place. We don't even have the correct people in place right now to ask for the right things. I mean, oh my gosh, you've seen what just happened in California, which is like a whole nother conversation, as I say, for another day. And I think I'm going to have to touch on that. But, politically, we were not organized. A lot of people didn't know that that was going on. And even right now, we don't have people in the room. If we were to get or ask for a comprehensive reparations packet, we don't even know exactly all what to ask for. We're talking about checks, and it's a little bit deeper than checks. We're talking about land. I've heard, opening the Freedmen's Bureau, which, I don't have a problem with that, but we're not organized. And most of the people talking about they want reparations, like, do you know how that has happened historically? Have you done your homework? And let's say that you have. Do you have a groundswell of people to make sure that that will be executed? And if they change their minds, what are we going to do? So I don't think that we should be saying bump everything. If I don't get reparations, I'm just going to sit here and wither on the vine. It doesn't work like that. Now, another reason why people are wanting to stay home or saying that they're just not going to vote is because if they want to keep it like 1,000, they feel very disappointed in the Biden administration. I've heard people say, and with the Democratic Party, I've heard people say, the Democrats won't trick us again. We won't be deceived, or, people who are coming to the realization that they meant what they said. We just have to have a moment of silence and go within and humble ourselves. Like, the Democratic Party did not deceive you. They told you explicitly, specifically, explicitly, blatantly, point blank, period, that Hispanics are the future. They don't even want to mention Black American. They don't even want to mention Negro. Like, they have pretty much erased you. And as I like to say, they like to use your dookie to give toilet paper to another group. They want to use our medical records to justify giving care to everybody else while just sitting there and letting you hemorrhage and die. So the Democratic Party did not deceive you, and it is time that Black America be very, very honest. They don't mention you. We've had all this analysis, with a lot of commentators online doing some good work around, this is what they said. Let's read it together. And they told you that this is what they were going to do, so you weren't deceived. And at some point, those who are just feeling betrayed, you have to be honest. They told you what it was, and they followed up. They were very honest. And so that was your fault. And so to correct that action, first, once again, you need to admit that. Admit that to yourself. You don't have to, go protest or march or, get loud and yelling at people. You just need to be humble. Sit back and be humble. Like, ooh, I played myself. They said minorities, and somewhere in there I thought that I got something. But meanwhile, when it's the lug butt Tias, they giving out checks. When it's the Hispanics, that they're cloaking as asylum seekers and migrants, they're very specific. When it's the Asians getting the bill, they're very specific on who it is. And so somehow we think that, okay, well, in order for us to get something, they just have to not say our name. Then we gonna creep, tiptoe on in and get something. That's not what it is. We're worth more than that. And it's like Destiny's Child. Say my name. And until they say your name, they're not talking to you. So that would be another reason why people are staying home, but they just don't want to admit that. So my response to people staying home, this would be the worst time for you to stay at home. I mean, people are hyper focused on the presidential election, but we have to remember that the Electoral College actually selects the president, and I think only two of them are legally bound to select who the people in their area want, to be president. So, you need to consider that as we are obsessing over who's going to be the president, because actually you need to be focused on your city and on your county and of course on your state. And I think as Black Americans, we really overlook our power. All these sanctuary cities that you see in, this is a city by city thing. Like, take Chicago, for example. The neighboring suburbs swiftly did executive orders, from the mayor, like, nah, you bring those people over there, we're going to send them on, or we're going to arrest them and participate, with ICE, despite it being a sanctuary state. Each city works like its own little corporation. So we need to be at those city council meetings. You can watch your city council meetings online now, a lot of them, to see the agendas and see what's happening. So if you stay at home, that would not be wise, because while you're at home, there are people at your city council meetings trying to take your home and trying to get you up out of here. So staying at home really only works if you have some other mechanism, in place. And so it's not revolutionary to do nothing. Some people are just defiant. I'm just going to bump this. This is my protest. I'm just going to resist. I was just watching a clip about the Black Panther Party, and they were interviewing Huey Newton. And he was like, yeah, originally it was called the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense. And he was like, yeah, it was about arming yourself to defend your physical body, but it also was about defending ourselves politically, because we understand that we are in this system and somewhat colonized, and we don't have anything to defend ourselves legally. And I think, when people look at the Black Panther Party and that group of young Black people, they overlook that they were college educated. Most were students at Laney College in Oakland. They were studying the Constitution, which is why they went to the state's capital with those guns, because they were invoking their rights to bear arms. And so that was study, that was understanding civic process. That wasn't, I'm just going to sit at home, be cool with my fro, my leather jacket, and my beanie, and this is my revolution, or this is my resistance to the system. So this is definitely not a time to stay at home. And people really need to rethink that messaging. I would say to people who are going to stay at home, can you afford to stay at home? And I'll put it like this: if you are not in one of these sanctuary states and you can't afford to go spend 2 weeks in those states, and that's whether you know somebody, you have some human capital, somebody that can loan you the money, and you can stay at their house, or you can afford, you have the finances to go take off of work or take, off from your business and stay for 2 weeks. If you can't afford that, you're not going to survive this climate. The most important issue right now is immigration. And that's another thing I've been seeing, with these big content creators that we call the news are interviewing, selected, Black people. Nobody's talking about immigration. Um, and, the people staying at home, can you afford mass immigration in your backyard, in your city? It's interesting to watch, my state, and now the takeover of Chicago. My God. But can you afford it? Because I put it like this: for every illegal alien you see, it's 20 people using their citizenship. And you have all these people around here who can't wait who are citizens that can't wait to bring in their, their cousins, their grandparents, and even people they don't know. They'll get some money to sponsor somebody and, get it how they live. So you really can't afford as a Black American to stay at home. If for the immigration alone, you show up to your city. I'm seeing a lot of these all black towns. I'd be looking at Texas, not all black, but like at least 30% or more. And I haven't seen any resolution saying that they're going to work with ICE, in these southern towns. So y'all got work to do. Don't be letting these people get you messed up in the game. And then I'm going to close with who can afford to stay home. You can afford to stay home and not vote if you live in an all-white neighborhood, because most white people are not for open borders, and they're pretty much politically and civically engaged. So whatever they do, you're gonna benefit from anyway. You can afford to stay home if your town or city or where you live is already in chaos. I mean, if it's over, then heck, it's over. Then you can just stay home. I mean, what are you going to do about it? But if you have something that you would like to keep next year, because this administration, before this guy gets up out of here, he's going to try and get amnesty for these illegal people, for the DACAs, the grown anchor babies who are not babies anymore. They're going to try and push citizenship. And if they do that, for each person who becomes a citizen, you can bring 20, I think it's 20 or 21 people via chain migration. So, if that's already happened to you, can stay home. But the rest of y'all tripping. And so if you enjoyed this, thank you for, tuning in. Please do like the video and stick around, subscribe. Let's get to know each other and let me know, are you staying home? Have you been hearing people say that they're staying home for the 2024 election? Have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next video.